your hands on top of your head.
Well, I didn't.
Now! Here comes the jam. Getting down with the truth. The only way he knows how to. Girl, Lord, what's his name? We call him the Chief. The Chief. You're damn right. He's gonna get that sucker. Gonna track down the truth. You know what a track down the truth. You know what do they call him? We call him the Chief. The Chief. You're damn right we do.
I'll bet your mother had a loud bark.
Good morning. This is Morning Coffee with the Chief. I'm your host, Patrick Jordan, here on Pop Culture's Morning Coffee with the Chief. Hey, you can find us on YouTube, and you can find us on Rumble, and you can find us on Pop Culture Minefield's Facebook page. Now, you can also find me at my Twitter handle. You can see it right there, the X handle, that is. It's at LSG Jordan. I do post about a wide variety of things. Follow me on Twitter. I'm getting up there. I got, I don't know, let's see, I'm pushing 5,000 followers on Twitter. And to get monetized, you actually have to have 2,000 verified folks on Twitter. And I'm at like 1,300. So I'm getting pretty close to where I can be monetized on Twitter. And that's where I do post not only this show, but I also post Morning Briefing with the Chief, which is on KJTV.com. You can find me there every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I got an interesting show tomorrow. I had to take a day off because I had to get a medical procedure. And the guest that I had that day is going to come back today, or tomorrow, Tom Speciale. And he worked for the Defense National Intelligence Agency. I think I'm trying to remember which agency it was, but he took on the CIA, former CIA chief Brennan, at a conference and called him out for his lies on Russiagate and called him out for his lies on the Hunter laptop. It was a big deal a few weeks ago. We're still going to do it. And he also has deep knowledge of this whole the J6 pipe bomber investigation. We had some stuff come out about that. And I'm going to ask him about, he's a National Guardsman as well. I'm going to ask him about the National Guardsman shooting in D.C. So it should be a good show tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. And hey, hello. Let's see, what do we got there? We got Gambit, who's following us. Hello, how are you guys doing? And anyways, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, last week or at Thanksgiving, I did go down to the LA mission. I do support hey guys. Hey, I do support the LA mission. Go to losangelesmission.org and make a donation today. Now, I was down there serving meals, and I have to tell you, the last couple of years, I was a little disappointed in what they were doing. I felt the food wasn't quite as good as that when I first started helping out about 6 years ago, and they have improved the quality of the food. They fed 1,200 people. So basically, Skid Row, it's right smack dab in the middle of Skid Row in Los Angeles, where they have about 8,000 people who live on the streets. Now, many of them go through, they have addiction problems, both drug and alcohol, or they have mental health problems, and they live on the streets. And the Los Angeles Mission, which has existed for 89 years, feeds them every Thanksgiving, and they do the same thing for Christmas. And so I go down there, and they had the chief of police, Jim McDonald, was down there, the sheriff, Robert Luna, the mayor, Karen Bass. She stayed for like 5 minutes and then left. But, thankfully the chief and the sheriff, they actually stayed for quite a long time. We had Danny Trejo, the actor, and then a bunch of other actors and actresses, beautiful people that are on daytime television. And I don't watch daytime television, so I have no idea who they were. But they were all serving, and it was a good time. It was a good effort this year. But go to the losangelesmission.org, because their next big event is the feeding just before Christmas. They do a Christmas meal, and they get all the trimmings there and help them out. Now, they make the sign of the cross there, which means they do not get any government money. And like I said, they need help. Give them some, call up or check out the Los Angeles Mission at the losangelesmission.org and make a small donation today. Hey, so today's show, we're gonna do the movie 52 Pickup. And it's a neo-noir crime drama that was released in 1986. And I remember seeing this movie, and I liked the movie, particularly the last scene. But I don't want to let it go. But that was probably the best scene in the movie in my mind. But I wanted to bring on our guest. I only have one guest, and Martin's going to step up, and he's going to also be a guest analyst on this movie today. But let's bring on my first guest, and that is Scott Orr. He's a retired sergeant from LA County Sheriff. Hey, Scott.
Hey,
how you
Pat,
doing?
how you doing? I'm doing great.
Yeah. So,
Doing great.
what'd you do for Thanksgiving? You went to visit.
Went from the South Tennessee to North Tennessee to my wife's brother's house, my brother-in-law. Had a nice meal with her niece and her family, and we turned around and drove 2.5 hours back.
Yeah, you got some politician running there who said she hates Nashville. I don't get it. If you're running in Tennessee, why would you say you hate Nashville? I don't know if you know that story, but it's crazy.
She's also the one that has a commercial that says, "Yeah, we're bullying the ICE and the state troopers while they're doing some operation." It's like, and my thing is, you're probably the first one to say you're against bullying and bullies, but now all of a sudden you're bragging about it because you're hassling law enforcement. But
yeah, how do you survive that? I mean, I don't know what she's running for. She's just running for the House, or I don't remember.
The House of Representatives, yeah.
The House of Representatives. She hates Nashville. I've been to Nashville twice. I loved it both times. One was, for a conference, and I checked out the Hermitage. I don't know if you've been to the Hermitage. That's
Several times.
Andrew Jackson's house. Very nice. And then I like to check out some of the history there in the city. And the last time it was with some old high school buddies, football buddies, and there was a lot of drinking. They definitely outpaced me. So I had to surrender. I always liked the Confederates, and I surrendered. I give. I can't do this anymore. But a lot of nightclubs, a lot of great music, and there's one place called the something Review, and it was really a strong cop supporting place. I can't think of the name now, and it was a. They have a charity down there, and they advertise a charity, and they got all the patches from all over the place. I forget the name of the place, but it was something Review, and we had a good time. Good music everywhere. Hey, Martine, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Thanks for stepping up to help us out with the show. And since we did talk about it in the green room, what do you think? Maduro's going to leave there, Venezuela, or you think he's going to hang on to the bitter end? Trump said leave, and he's gearing up to fight.
Well, I don't know how, but by all means,
By all means.
try it. But there's this misconception that Maduro is the head of the. No. He's a puppet of another group.
Okay.
Specifically, a specific individual.
Okay.
Who's been the real power ever since Chavez got ill. Well, he was being prepared for do that. Everybody says that he's the owner of Venezuela. It's the Diosdado Cabello. He is the mastermind. Maduro doesn't have 2 brain cells to coordinate nothing.
Say the name of the guy behind the scenes again.
Diosdado Cabello. Diosdado means given by God. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
That name.
Well, is he actually a socialist like Chavez was, or is he wrapping himself in socialism to take over?
It all depends. Are socialist leader ever socialist, because they hold all the money?
Yeah, I know.
So it depends.
We're going through this whole drama with socialists in the U.S., and I just say, hey, different political system just means different people are in charge.
Yeah,
and they're rich and they get the benefits. And so if you look at socialist society, there's always some cadre of people in charge, and they get whatever. You look at the old Soviet Union. Guess what? The people in the party got what they wanted. The main people in the party, they They lived at nice houses. They got the best food. They got the best medical. How's that different than a capitalist society? The smartest and most capable are there, are getting the most. So okay, they redrew a district to force my neighborhood into a district of far left congressperson from Memphis. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Alpha. You have to get out there and vote against that far lefty. Do you think that far lefty will win, Alpha? That's the guess. It's kind of ironic that this is happening since RFK Jr. was an old friend of the stooge for Chavez. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I didn't think much of Chavez. I mean, the guy's a dictator. Theater also means gift of God. Okay, I didn't know that. Theodore Roosevelt was a gift of God. I liked him. I read his biography. He was great. But it's interesting what's going on down there. I can't see Trump actually going to war. I think this is just more harassment. And so I don't think we're going to be going in there with military. That's just my opinion. So because he said I'm not going to go to war. He's not a war president. So we'll see.
Well, it wouldn't be a war. It would be more of an invasion occupation.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that.
Now, here's the thing. For years, decades now, I've been hearing people in my country saying that they've been asking for something like this. They wanted these monsters to be removed by an external power, EA, the USA. And I always said, no, you don't want to get invaded by anyone.
Yeah.
What we should do is get rid of these mofos by ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the whole thing about
I'm genuinely worried because I know Trump's quarrel is not with my people, but with the freaking narco government. But in every armed conflict, there are always collateral damage, and I am worried about the collateral damage. I'm very scared about that.
There's an interesting thing in political thought, since I'm a political science major, that all governments serve at the will of the people. If you think about that and play it out, even dictatorships, even though they're oppressing the people, if the people decided to rise up, they could overthrow their government, right? And that's why governments do everything they can to keep them down. That's why China lies about everything. That's why China and any movement that might threaten them, they crush them. They don't want any. And that's why it's always the U.S. is the bad guy over there because it can't be them. We're doing everything perfectly. So they it's all about mind control, controlling the people because they know ultimately if the people are upset, they could overthrow them. That's a political thought. He panders to the black vote in Memphis. Despite this, he was refused membership in the Congressional Black Caucus because he's Jewish. Oh, that's interesting. So I think
I have something to say to everybody that says that that particular point of even the people want the dictatorship. That the assholes who said that clearly haven't lived under a dictatorship.
Right. Well, that's just political thought. It's not. It's a theory. So
yeah, theory not always go hand in hand with reality.
Yeah.
We had some friends from
and of course
in Sweden to hear
this
because of socialism.
They what, Scott?
Because of socialism. Because
what about
they from Sweden?
Oh yeah,
which they say actually isn't really a socialist country, but it does have socialist leanings.
Yeah,
but
policies.
It was like, first of all, you lose you're going to give 49% to 51%, depending on how much you make, to the government.
Mm-hmm.
And the only people that get rich are the oligarchs and the people in government.
Yep. Yeah, we know somebody from Sweden, and she told me, she goes, yeah, I had to leave so that I can. You can't build anything there because they take it away. Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't starve. You'll get some medical, but you can't. If you are ambitious and work hard and all that stuff, they take a big chunk away from you to help everybody else. She says there was no real incentive to work hard, which is what socialism does, right? It's
Well,
What
it
is
makes
my-
you dependent on the government. So
Yeah.
you always got to keep voting in those people that are going to keep your, like the whole SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
Everybody's in an uproar that Trump's taking SNAP benefits away from people. But if you read, it just basically says if you're able to work, all you have to work is 20 hours a week to get SNAP benefits. And people are bitching about I can't find a job.
Well,
McDonald's, you can work 20 hours a week part-time at McDonald's.
you don't even have to work. You can volunteer. You can go to school,
exactly.
you know. So it's like it's all you have to do is show community engagement, which is
People don't want to work for
No.
money. They are not working for voluntary.
why work when you that's social. What's that Margaret Thatcher say? Hey, you know, socialism is great till you run out of other people's money. So I always use that quote. I use that quote because it's great. You know, socialism is great till you run out of other people's money. It's I'm paraphrasing, but it's something like that. Okay, we're doing the movie 52 Pickup. I remembered this movie as I was just kind of hunting, looking what movies I wanted a movie to do, and I remembered the last scene, and I liked the scene. But it's got some good people in it. It was released in 1986, and directed by John Frankenheimer, and Roy Scheider is in this.
Yes,
of Jaws fame. So this is, it's after Jaws. He got a lot of movies, so he was kind of. This is probably 9 years after Jaws, so he's cashing in on his fame from Jaws. And Ann-Margret's in this, so beautiful lady, and then the actress Vanity is in this too, and it's based upon a book by Elmore Leonard released in 1975. The book is also 52 Pickup, and I saw this movie years ago, but I hadn't seen it again as I was kind of going through looking for movies to do. And I remember the last scene. I go, I'll do this, and I like the people in it, right? And because we got Link is in this, right? Clarence Williams III. Now I don't know if you remember the Mob Squad. Do you remember the Mob Squad with the Link with the big hair?
Mob Squad, yeah.
And that's what I always, whenever I see him, I think of that. I think I sent you a pic, Martin. You want to throw that pic up there?
Oh yeah,
the Mob Squad is from the '60s. There, and is that who's the skater? Isn't that I forget who the other two people are. But there's Link with his big afro, and he's a lot more cleaned up in the Mob Squad than he is in the movie. But I remember him from that, and so they have the really good villain in here, John Glover. He plays a really good villain in a lot of movies, and I remembered him too. And when I thought of this movie, there were two things I remembered. Distinctly was the villain and the villain getting off at the end, which I thought was really a good scene. But we'll save that for the end. What'd you think of the movie, Scott?
I think I saw it when it came out back in '86, but it's an okay movie. It's a little slow at times, and a lot of times you're like, why doesn't he just go to the cops and settle this whole thing?
Yes.
And it's like, I get the revenge part. I like that. But it's like the whole time I'm thinking, why are you not going to the police? You hold all the cards, actually. Why are you not going to the police on this?
Yep. And well, he thinks he's framed, but and what was the other? He wanted to protect his wife and not ruin her career. Well, that went pretty quick. And then he starts, I did like the fact that he started hunting these guys.
Yeah.
But, and they do say in the beginning that he's a war hero, decorated war hero, and all that other stuff. But it reminded me of the movie. Remember the movie Ransom?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, where they kidnap his kid, and Mel Gibson's rich and says, "All right, well, I'll pay $2 million for the person who captures or kills." And so he kind of turns the table on the kidnapper as well. Hey, Penny, thank you for joining the show. And so. It reminded me of that, but
well, my thing is that hi Gambit, and my thing was, so when they sat there and made me watch this snuff film, I would have turned to him and said, "So now that you've made me a murderer, why not be a serial killer?"
Yeah.
Well, that was what he did.
Yeah, basically. He got him.
But you don't say that to them, because they could have off him then and there.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but what would they have had to gain? Nothing. So they could get absolutely zero.
Well, plus there's no honor amongst thieves, so you knew
Right.
after a while these
Yeah,
guys would
and
be.
he knew that, and he used that from the
Yeah, he
beginning.
used that, and so in some ways, I like Scheider in this movie. I think he did a pretty good job. But you're right; it's a little slow, but it's a different kind of neo noir. So they kind of go a little slow, crime drama, and so we don't get the fast paced kind of stuff here. I think they could have tightened it up a little bit. I think, but. It would have been a shorter movie then, and it was already a short movie to begin with. In my mind, I think I saw this movie online for the first time when I was 25. Yeah, and but Ann-Margret, she did a great job in this thing. Let's go with the first thing. I think I just talked about Roy Scheider and Ann-Margret in this, and these are, they're not golden age Hollywood, but they're right on that edge. And I just remember her as a very beautiful lady, and she was in Bye Bye Birdie, right? And Viva Las Vegas, I think, with Elvis, right? In Pocket Full of Miracles. So she started in a lot of. She was very famous in her day, and she did a good job in this movie. I liked her in this movie, and then. But I liked the supporting cast. I thought the supporting cast were despicable rogues in this movie, and here we just see, and I like this car too.
That was a nice car.
I don't see why.
I really like this car. I mean, we before my divorce, we bought a Jag that had the similar design. It was a little older version, or the next generation version, and I like the styling of the Jags. Now the maintenance on them was terrible, but
yeah,
they're just beautiful. Beautiful cars, almost like a Spitfire. They're designed nice, they're beautiful, and yeah. What'd you think? What are you gonna say, Martine? You like the car too?
Oh yeah, and there's an Italian company that made a conversion body kit. It's
Kit
called
car?
the Disco Volante, or the Flying Saucer, and it modernized some aspect of the car, and man, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car. Now, as I saw him, I got a little MG that I'm probably going to sell here in a little bit, but a convertible, and it's having some problems, and it's beyond my skill set to take care of it. I want something a little easier to take care of. But what I notice is, and I see it in the movie, is he's just a little too big for that car. Those little Jags and those little English cars, they're they ain't much for somebody over 5'9", I think. So, yeah, I liked it. It would have been nice if it had maybe a little red, but it was okay. It's a good car. What do you think, Scott? Nice car?
Oh yeah, beautiful car. But I would not fit in the car like that.
Yeah.
We test drove a Corvette, and I told the wife, I said, "How am I supposed to get in and out of this?" I said, "I'm gonna have to roll." Actually, I did. At the end of the test drive, it was a thing Chevy put on for Chevy owners. You can drive all their cars. And so I basically had to roll out of the car and then stand up. So it was too low. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
I saw a video about
getting in is not the problem. The problem is getting out.
I saw a podcast where it says, waiting till you're 70 to get your favorite car isn't great. And it was, this guy was overweight. He's 70. He could barely get in the thing and get out of it. And
wait.
It was a Ferrari.
They say to get your car, not to get in.
Yeah. Well, we saw the same thing. We saw this really beautiful Corvette at getting gas, and I told my wife, either some rich guy drives that or it's some old guy. I go, it can't be an old guy because it's way too low. Sure enough, here comes this old guy, waddles out to it. Opens the door. It took him like 30 seconds to get in it.
Yeah.
No way in hell I'd buy a car like that.
I wouldn't say the later models are really low. If you look at the models in the 90s and early 2000s, they're not quite as bad. But now they're just right down on the ground for the Corvettes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can't do that. You know what? I have a Cadillac SUV and I love it. It's nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
And my wife has a BMW 3 Series, and it's like when I drive it, it's like I feel like I'm in a cockpit.
Yeah.
And I get in mine and I feel like I'm on my couch, and I'm like, okay, I'm past the I want to feel comfortable when I drive. Particularly now that I have my back stuff going on, I definitely want to feel comfortable. But the car was a big hit for me. I liked the car in this show, and here we go. We got our bad guys. They are showing. They're actually going to start out with a bribery scam. He's our main character. Roy is having a relationship with. Cindy. I think her name is Cindy.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, it's
Cynthia, but
it's Kelly Preston is the actress, right? Cynthia.
Yeah,
And
John Travolta's wife.
Yes, Kelly Preston, and she plays the love interest here, or his mistress. And she's also works at a strip club, and these unsavory characters figured it out, and they figured they're going to do a bribery scandal on him. They take pictures of her, and they're going to. And he's supposed to give him 100,000. You could tell this is old because 100,000 is not a lot of money for a rich guy, So
like, okay, 100 grand, great.
Yeah, they won't even buy you a Ferrari now, right? So, and with the $10,000 goodwill up front right away, and he's an industrialist. Our main character, Harry, is his character name, but Roy is an industrialist, and they figure he's rich. And so they'll get him for which was weird, 105,000. Well, why'd you come up with that number? It doesn't make any sense to me. They never really explained that. Why that number? Why not just 100,000 or 110,000 or 105,000? But that's what the ask was. And
well, they are 5, the 3 guys and the 2 girls.
So, is that so? They were okay. Well, how would you split? 5 is 20,000. Well, 21,000 each. But they're not going to give the girls 21,000. They're going to shortchange. As we find out, they're all out of the picture here.
But I do believe that the number on the splitting way is just a cover than the main villain is plotting, because he has, even his partner are being conned by him.
Yes, yeah. And you later learn that he went to Northwestern and was involved in some bad stuff. We got it. So Kelly Preston was in. Let's see, for Love of the Game, Jerry Maguire. Remember that one, Jerry Maguire? Show me the money. And Mischief, The Experts, What a Girl Wants, Sky High, and Old Dog. Now she married John Travolta. Let's see, she was in Space Camp. I think the one I remember the most is Twins. She was in Twins. That's the one with Arnold
Schwarzenegger and DeVito.
I remember that one, and Jerry Maguire. Those are 2 that I remember her in. But she looks like she played more of a supporting role in that one. So she was in the Blue Lagoon. I didn't realize she was in that one. No, that was Brooke Shields. So she arranged for her first film audition. Well, she didn't get it, so Brooke Shields got it. So I didn't know that. She'd have been beautiful in that one too. But probably her best one is Jerry Maguire, I would think, right? That she was in. But she's beautiful in this show. This is one of her first movies, and unfortunately, she doesn't make it through. Her character doesn't make it all the way through the end here. She gets killed, right? And I didn't recognize her though. She's so young. I didn't recognize that was Kelly Preston. I had to look it up. So let's go Wayward Spouse. So he's getting bribed. Now here's the other thing though. The best way to deal with this was to go to the police, right? Like you said, Scott, go to the police, let them know what's going on. And but he didn't want to do that because he didn't want to ruin
his wife's beginning career.
Yeah, and she's
But the thing is, they are only threatening him with, "We're going to tell this to your wife." So he said, "Okay, fuck you, I will confess to my wife."
Yeah, exactly. You just do that, Yeah,
and that is what he does. He
ultimately does, right?
And he doesn't pay them. Never. The first money delivery, that was a fuck you sign in the
right. Yeah, he just what is up your ass or whatever written on
the But you can see he's thinking here. Thinks, oh my God, my wife really, he doesn't deserve this. It's easier.
That's what cracked me up right there in the movie.
What's that?
When they're talking about her. And it says she's part of the Clean Air Board.
Oh, yes.
But Roy Scheider smokes through the whole movie, even indoors. So how clean air are you?
Plus, his business is, he's using industrial tools. He's blowing stuff up, and of course
Exactly.
seeing him blow stuff up was kind of fun. But that is a harbinger of the last scene, right?
Uh-huh.
That he has access to explosive materials. But yeah, they want her to run. Was it to run for city council? I think they wanted to run,
Yeah.
and the other character in here, he's running for
DA.
the DA now, Doug McClure. Now he's been around. He was around for a long time. I think he did a lot of westerns, as I remember, and yeah, the Virginians. Yeah, he did the Virginians.
Doug made everything. He did drama,
Yeah.
western, sci-fi. Very bad sci-fi, by the way.
The Unforgiven. They were young. Let's see, but the Unforgiven. That was not. That was the Unforgiven was, I think, the one with John Wayne and Rock Hudson. Remember that one where they're going to Mexico? I think that was that one. They were Confederates that were leaving and going to Mexico. I think that's what that movie was, and I remember he was in it. So yeah, he did a lot of movies, but he was just playing kind of a character role here in this show. But a lot of westerns.
More of a cameo than anything.
Yeah, more of a cameo. Yeah. So, but I recognize him. Like, oh, recognize that guy. So, but it's interesting as I was looking. There's a scene later on, and I had to kind of work my way around the scenes and what I used. Because there was a lot of risque scenes in this movie, but if you check it out, there's a lot of porn actors who were recruited to be in the sex scenes or the party scene, whatever it was.
Yeah, because this main scumbag, he's a pornographer.
Yeah. So here he is in his beautiful house with Ann-Margret, his wife, and like anybody who cheats on their wife, it's just more excitement than it was, falling in love. And this is where he tells her, I'm seeing somebody. So he's, this is the best way to do it when you're getting bribed. Just come clean, and you take the power away from the bad guy, right? That's what happens. You take the power away from them. Okay.
Especially when it's a trap, because he knows that the girl was working with them. They told him. So he's not. He does not expect what is going to happen after this. He says, "Okay, I come clean. I do not pay, and that's it." They have no leverage.
Right.
But then they manufacture a big leverage.
Which that's when it's the plot kind of goes off the rails for me, because
okay, you're talking about as a policeman, because but imagine a guy comes to you and says, "Oh, I've been framed for the murder of my mistress." Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, you would scrutinize the crap out of it, but there's just so many things wrong with how they did it.
Right.
I mean, well, I don't know if the scene's in here where the bad guy is sitting in the kitchen. Is that in here?
Yeah, the people credit as party goers are the who's of the mid 1980 porn. Yeah, that's right. Ron Jeremy and some of the other people in there. It's he went to prison too. He was convicted of, I think, raping Ron Jeremy. So but yeah, so he did the smart thing. Let me take away the power of the blackmailers by telling my wife, and obviously I don't know. I guess she took it well. I don't know how.
I don't know. But why? After he told her, why didn't he just go to the cops and say, "Hey, these guys are trying to extort me"?
Yes, because that was the other thing. Well, yeah, they didn't want it. It was gonna, if she's running for office and he reports that, it's gonna come out.
Yeah.
Even though
this was 86. It's not like it is today where.
Yeah, it's not. But
sneeze somebody.
You remember how you used to write the report, and you could designate certain reports confidential, right? I forget the process, right? Special distribution, I think, is what you did. So if you take the report, you can do where it's limited distribution, doesn't go anywhere, and I forget how they do it. There's a whole process where they keep a lot of the details quiet.
Well, couldn't you just like a murder where it's just a generic with nothing John Doe.
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah. So there's ways,
and then do a red tip sup with all the real stuff in it.
all the details. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's ways to keep it quiet, and and that would, I mean, and most of the curious people, because then if somebody tries to come and get copies of reports, there's nothing in it, right? It's
Right.
it's
generic.
It's very generic, and so there were ways to do it, but of course, I think, initially he kind of says he doesn't want to ruin her career, and he's hoping to get out of this without it hitting the news. Yeah, any paper trail. But there, like I said, you're right, Scott. He should have just, at this point, going to the police would have been he already told his wife, so the worst damage is done. Go to the police, right? And and the thing about it, she gets to play the victim card. I don't, nowadays it's like, oh, my husband cheated on me. Heck, she got the women vote there.
Right.
Right. And they're bribing me. I'm a victim of a crime.
I've been a devoted wife and helped my husband
build his
grow a
career,
successful business, and now he's cheating on me with some porn actress. And
I mean, yeah, look at Bill Clinton. I'm going to stand by my man. Hillary, right?
Oh, God.
So I think they could have handled it differently. So some of the plot stuff I didn't necessarily agree with, but hey, let's get into Link. I think that's my next scene is Link, and when I realized he was in the movie, I go, oh, I got to do this. I mean, we just saw the earlier pic. Let's throw it up there so the new people who just joined us. After the scene, we'll throw up the pic of Link and Mob Squad. But he's looking a little. See, Gary Hart's scandal that derailed his political career was 1987, though. That was the candidate himself. Yeah, you're right, Alpha. That's the candidate. So she gets to play the victim here. Woe's me, evil, masculine men, cheating on a beautiful wife who's been devoted wife who helped build his career. I think that's the one that kind of. I understand having a supportive spouse, but when they say, well, she built his career. Well, no, it's. Having been married for a long time, there was a lot of time there was zero support for what I was doing, but so it's like that's a given now. I think that they say that stuff, but that's not true. So here we are. We got Link, and this is the party scene, which I had to kind of play around and make sure I didn't have any naked people in. But we got two of the main culprits here, Link and his partner, and they're talking about how this is going to be an easy score. And you kind of know the weakest one here, him. He's going to go first, in my mind. What do you think? That kind of gets telegraphed, don't you think, Martin? He's the weakest link. He's the one that's going to.
Oh yeah.
He's kind of like Maury in Goodfellas. Remember Maury, the loudmouth that gave the tip, and you go, okay, that guy's dead. As soon as he won't shut his mouth, he's, Robert De Niro character, kill him, which he did in real life. But you kind of see that here. And you get the impression this is obviously the character Cynthia is giving the impression she doesn't really like what's happening. She probably liked Roy here, or Harry. She liked all the benefits that he gave her, and now she's losing that so that these scumbags that are bribing him can make a score in which she'll probably get very little of. I think she already knows that. She doesn't like it, and she's moping around the porn party. So. But hey, a lot of who's who in the porn industry, and that scene, I was really shocked. I think there was a time when they were using porn actors in movies, and it was more acceptable coming out of the free love movement of the 70s into the early 80s. When I did my research, I was actually surprised. I obviously didn't realize that when I watched this years ago. I still didn't realize it because I had to look them up to see who these people were. I didn't look up their porn scenes, but I looked up their bios.
Okay.
I wonder if they got I wonder what they get some residuals for that, right?
I guess they're probably the only ones that could find it were willing to bear all.
Yeah, it's
a long time on this in this movie. But it's typical 80s movies. If you watch a lot of these type of films from the 80s, they all involve naked women.
Well, if you actually, I did Dirty Harry, and I forget which one I did. Maybe it was number 2. It was which one was that? That was Magnum Force, I think, was number 2. Can't remember now. And they have a pool scene where everybody's naked, right?
Yeah.
and Suzanne Summers was in it, right? But so there, you see these ones in the 70s and 80s where they have this, I don't know, this gratuitous presentation of sex, and so you see that in this movie too. What do you think of the scene, Martine? First of all, Link, right? Were you familiar with Link from Mob Squad, or had you?
No.
No. So yeah, I just remember watching Mob Squad as a kid. It was Peggy Limpton, right? Wasn't she the gal in there? I should look it up.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was Peggy Limpton. I think was the gal in Mob Squad. And it's funny because you see him in a bunch of movies. He was a good character actor after that, but I don't think he ever kind of hit the leading man kind of thing. Let's see who
He's no Denzel.
He what?
I said he was no Denzel.
No, he was no Denzel, right? Exactly.
There's only one Denzel, my friend.
Only one Denzel.
There was Michael Cole, Clarence Williams, and Peggy Limpton. Yeah, so she was the gal in the Mob Squad. But they're all these like hippies that are cops that are solving crimes. That's basically what it was, right? So,
yep.
And they're running around looking like hippies. Now, I worked at West Hollywood. And I worked with a bunch of detectives who had worked in the late 70s, early 80s. And, some of those guys, they used to dress that way. And they talked about it in DB that they used to, they would joke about how they used to dress to look the part, because there was a lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and a lot of pimps, the traditional looking, what you would think of as a pimp that was on the Sunset Strip at the time. And they talked about it, and they said, and they had clubs. I think we talked about it in one of the movies. One of the clubs was the movie Winter with John Holmes, where they killed a bunch of people. It was based upon a true story, and it was, I can't remember the name of the club now, but yeah, it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll on the Sunset Strip. And when I first started working in West Hollywood, they still had bathhouses. They still had, I call it the Paris House here, but in one of the scenes. But they still had that place where you can go and rent a camera and take pictures of naked girls. So they still had a lot of this overt pornography. The sex part of the sex, drug, and rock and roll was much more overt when I first started working in West Hollywood, both for guys and gals. And over the time, it actually changed. They got rid of all that stuff. They redeveloped it, got rid of it. It was there still. It's still there, but it's a little more undercover. So it's not as prevalent, which is surprising because the city's very progressive, and they don't believe in enforcing those laws. But they did clean up a lot of that stuff, which surprised me. So when I was watching this movie, it just reminded me of what I first saw in Hollywood when I started working there in 1985. So this released in 86. So kind of the same way with the Broadway. I don't know. Did you ever work somewhere, Scott, where they had just the overt sexual stuff like this, or it was more suburban? Because most of our cities are suburban kind of communities, right? They're not.
No, I was in Carson, and then mostly South LA and Compton. So
yeah, but even those are, I wouldn't say they're ideal bedroom communities, but they're mostly just communities, right? They're not
right. They're you're not going to find those type of clubs that. I mean, I did work industry when I first went to gangs, and we used to have to go in and do checks at the strip club, because there's strip clubs all over the city industry, but we had to go in there and make sure there was no gang members causing any problems.
Oh yeah, that's of course. Yeah. And massage parlors. So
yeah, get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, it was the AIDS thing that shut down the bathhouses. They started shutting them down because they were just too dangerous, right? And I think public health was coming in there doing raids, and that's when the gay men started marching around. They wanted their rights to go do whatever they wanted to do. But yeah, so when I watched this movie, it did remind me of the kind of stuff that existed early on in West Hollywood in my career that has since is much more, like I said, underground now than it used to be. So, but let's roll. Let's roll with the next scene. I got. This is where he says no to extortion. Now, I thought it was pretty interesting how they did the exchange. he hires somebody to at the baseball diamond. You just remember that? And
Yeah.
Yep.
now it was actually not believable at all because it was at it's at Dodger
And
Stadium.
here's the note.
Yeah, here's a note. But it's at Dodger Stadium. There's no way that you're going to get out of the Dodger Stadium parking lot for a half hour, right? If you go to a game.
Well,
So I watched that. I go, "This is not true.
Well,
I'm getting out of that
didn't,
damn
they
parking
didn't
lot."
stay for the duration of the game.
Yeah.
I know, but you still ain't getting out, because they park and you get blocked in. You're sitting in your car, right? So there's no way these guys are escaping and getting out of that. Well, you know what I'm talking about, right? Scott, you've been to a Dodger game.
Oh yeah.
They pack them in and you can't get out. You got to wait till everybody comes out. And oh my God. So that was not believable to me.
Yeah.
And I know it didn't stay for the games. And you haven't been to a Dodger game probably, Martine, but I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous, but you only have, because this is all based in LA.
Well, what I love is you build this huge stadium and there's one main drag to get in and out
I know.
that goes down and ends at another main drag to go right or left.
Yeah.
And then everything else is small, almost single car residential streets.
Drives. Yeah.
It's like,
That's Chavez regime guy, or Chavez Ravine. That's where they have that
it's
at.
like, what the hell? Who thought this was a good idea?
So here's our bad guy. This is the first time you really see him publicly, and he plays a really good bad guy in a lot of different movies. And I liked him this one. When I thought of this movie, I thought of the bad guy and I thought of the car, and how the two come together at the end. But here Ann-Margret, she goes in. The door is open and she goes in. She knows there's something wrong and she stays there.
Yeah, I mean.
This
How
is the
are
part
you going?
where it really went off track for me.
Well, people is not very bright. Let's be honest. But people, if you get into your house and you notice your front door has been breached, do not get into the house. Call the police.
And then he says, "Well, your door was unlocked, dude. You're in LA. Every door's locked. I mean, come on."
Yeah, even in the 80s. Now he did dress in a disarming way. He looks like he's.
Why would you go in the first place?
Yeah.
The door's open. You know you didn't leave it open or unlocked, and then you go in anyway, and you don't call the cops.
No, you don't go in.
I want to be a victim. Let me go in.
Yes.
So here she is. She's calling the cops. But all right. So this is obviously before cell phones. So you go to your neighbor. That's what you do. That's what they used to do. Go to the neighbors, call the cops, say, "Hey, I think somebody broke into my house." Right. And it's LA. That would be the first thought when your door's open like that. Right. And so that's what you're supposed to do. But that's, yeah. So, but he plays a really good bad guy, right, Martine? This guy, we've seen him in a lot of different stuff.
He's so good at playing creepy guys.
Creepy. Let's see. He on television he played Lex Luthor in Smallville, and he was the voice of the Riddler. I'd say I got to see what other movies he was in. White Knights, let's see, Masquerade, Night of the Running Man, Batman, the animated series. So they use him. He does a lot of voiceovers too. And when you see him, people go, "Oh, that guy," right? Because he's kind of cleaned up here, right? He looks kind of cleaned up, but yeah, I liked him. This is, I think, of all the acting in the movies, his was the best. When I would imagine if you're an actor and you get a script, you probably go, "Oh, this will be a fun script," right? He gets to have fun being this villain in this movie.
Yeah,
the way I can, you know what I mean? And he does a really good job of it. And so, what do you think of him, Martin, as an actor and in the movie?
Oh man, I do love this guy. When you see him in the movie, you say, "Oh, this is gonna be a good villain. I'm gonna enjoy this." Even when he doesn't play villains, which is not too often.
Right.
He puts a little creepy spin on his character. And yeah. I think you're right. I think he freaking loves those playing those kind of parts. He's getting paid for playing.
Yeah. Well, I think, okay, if you think of, who's the best villain in your movies, there's a lot of good villains. I mean, I think of Die Hard, the first Die Hard.
Yes.
That guy was a really good villain, right? He was a fun villain. But another villain that, you wouldn't, I thought was, he was, it was Gene Hackman in Unforgiven with, he played the
Yeah.
town marshal guy. Yeah, pretty mean guy. And I heard he didn't want to do the movie for a long time because he didn't like the character, right? And but that guy was a despicable character.
Yeah,
But
and not only that, he thought he was the hero.
yeah.
He thought he was a good guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be quite frank, in that movie, they did kill the cowboys, so they were killers, right? But just the method that the marshal used, that the character that Gene Hackman played in that movie was just awful, right? But I still think the best villain for me was Die Hard, the Christmas movie. That's not the argument we have. The Christmas movie, Die Hard, because they show him every Christmas, was the first villain in that movie. I'm forgetting his name now, the actor.
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman, yes.
Yeah, because I think he played in some of the Harry Potter stuff, right?
Snape. He was Professor Snape.
Yeah. I think
Snape.
for me, from cinema, he's the best villain that, because he was the most entertaining too. But this guy also has that kind of theme. That's why I liked him in this movie. Our bad guy, John Glover, playing Alan Rainey. So yeah. So Scott, what'd you think of our villain in this movie?
Oh, he's a good villain. I mean, but like you said, he always plays that. I can't remember what movie it was, but he's like a lawyer who's trying to basically take the company away from somebody. So
Right.
He's doing all these underhanded things. So yeah, he always plays the villain, and he does a great job in this. I mean, he is.
No,
You want it to come off like, yeah, he's a slimy pornographer, doing this slimy stuff, and he plays it quite well.
No, the most unbelievable thing about this movie is, why do their partners trust him? The guys he's a big giant walking red flag.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you? I mean, it's like, if I was part of that group, I'd be waiting for the double cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's narcissistic. I think Gambit's got a thing. Roy had been offered the lead in several of Cannon films, because those Cannon films did this, before he turned them down until he was offered the role of the film adaptation of this 52 pickup. I didn't know that. Thank you for checking that out. And you see a lot of the Cannon films, and they're just kind of B movies, and this is not quite a B movie, right? And so they had some A actors in there, and so I could see where, if you were going to do one, this is where I said I think that he was. See, Glover usually plays villains in
Scrooge,
more lighter films and TV, like Scrooge. Yeah, that's right. He was in Scrooge, Gremlins 2, and Smallville. But I think this offered a little more character depth for him, and it kind of fit what he wanted. Because he was also in. We did the movie The 7-Ups. Do you remember The 7-Ups? He was also in the one with Gene Hackman, based upon the true story, The French Connection. And I think a lot of the stuff was coming out after Jaws, so he was capitalizing on his Jaws fame and getting offered all these roles. And I could see, and it's, I guess, actors and actresses, after they make it big, they want to make sure they don't pick the wrong role that makes them go down, right? And never, you want to pick the right roles to keep you going up. And I don't think he ever quite hit the same fame that he had with Jaws. I mean,
no, he does have a quote that everybody.
Yeah, I'm part of that.
Everybody,
big fan of him.
We need a bigger boat.
We need a bigger boat. Yeah,
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
We need a bigger boat. Yeah.
So he's got an iconic, so he'll live on forever through that one. We're going to need a bigger boat.
They're going to involve, and the end scene is Smiley, you son of a bitch, is he's the
Yeah.
unbelievable scene where he's going to hit the air tank in the shark's mouth with the rifle. That one was okay. That was
we shot an air tank out in the desert. All it did was went.
yeah, it didn't blow up like that.
It didn't blow up at all.
So, but yeah, I think, like I said, I think he was capitalizing on his fame and picking these ones. And thanks for doing the research there, Gambit, on why he picked this one. But he says no to these guys, right? Screw you, and which is former war hero. He's not going to be. I think I forget if it was Korea that he fought. He's not going to be intimidated by these guys. I mean, he had hundreds of thousands of angry Chinese trying to kill him. He's not going to be worried about. I mean, three punks for these. He's not going to be intimidated by it, right? I mean,
when my son was in the Marine Corps, he had one of his. He was a sergeant. He had one of his lance corporals or PFCs come up to him, and so apparently this PFC or lance corporal went on one of those adult sites, right?
Right.
And while she's doing her thing, he's doing his thing. Well, at the end, she goes, "Well, if you don't send Venmo me $1,000, I'm going to release this on YouTube or whatever." And he goes, "That would be so cool. All my friends would love to see that." So my son's like, "Well, why are you telling me this? You already handled it." I mean, kind of what Roy Scheider. Go ahead, release it.
Go ahead, make my day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that because they do open the movie up and they talk about his background, and most people don't, they don't understand what people went for World War II, or really don't understand what they went through in Korea,
Yeah.
And
or
Vietnam. I mean, I told this story. I was sitting in the audience for the Metro board meetings. I would sit there in uniform, and this guy Goldie, I forget Goldie's last name. He would sit down next to me, and he was the head of the union for the bus drivers or something like that. And he would kind of lead with the same stories. "Oh, the sheriff, you guys caught me and my wife when we were just dating over in Malibu, and I married that guy." But then he would talk about his experience in Korea. He was in the division in Japan. I think it was the 24th Rifle Division, and they were understaffed. Didn't have the proper weapons, and they were sent over there just to slow down the North Koreans. And he told the story. He says, "We lost every battle. I lost a lot of friends. We got our butts kicked all the way back to the Busan perimeter." He was there the whole time. And I don't know why he told me. I guess because I wore a uniform, and he told me that story. I said, "Why are you telling me this?" He goes, I don't talk about it, but I need to tell this story." And it was really sad, because he lost. And then I checked it out, and I go, "Oh my God, he's right. They got their butts kicked. They lost every single battle, and they lost, I want to say, 25% casualties. It was huge." And then I met another guy, and he was a sergeant in Korea. He was in the Marines, and he was in the Chosin. He fought in the Chosin Reservoir, and he talked about that at one of the most vicious battles that we ever fought. And it was we had defeated. We were pushing the North Koreans towards the Yalu River, right? We're pushing them all the way towards China, and the Chinese entered the battle and just kicked the hell out of us and pushed us all the way back. And the Marines got surrounded in the Chosin Reservoir, the coldest battle they ever fought, and they had to fight their way out, right? And I think what was the general that was on Chesty Puller says, "We're surrounded." "Well, that makes it simple. We know where the enemy's at," or whatever. Yeah. I can't remember what he said.
"We can shoot in every direction."
The enemy. And they fought their way to a port and got out. And then they,
I had an uncle who was there, and all he would ever tell me when I'd ask him questions was, I said,
the 24th
like the frozen Chosin, and he said, "Cold."
Thanks for looking that up, Alpha. That's exactly right. It was the 24th Infantry Division, severely understrength, and they got their butts kicked all the way to the Busan. And so when they lead with that, if you know, okay, this guy fought in Korea. That wasn't a schoolyard fight. That was nasty. It was a nasty fight. I mean, there was a task force that they put together. I think it was Task Force Smith that got wiped out in the Chosin. It was an Army one, and some of those guys managed to filter back to the Marines lines and escape, but most of them got wiped out. And they caught a general too. A general got captured. General Dean, he got captured. That was leading that effort. So, yeah, it was. So when you know that, and they talk about, this guy's a director of war here from, Korean War, you're like, oh, okay, that sets the stage if you know the history. And since it's the 80s, more people would remember the history back then.
And he's good with explosives.
And he's good with explosives. Yes.
Yeah.
One of my mentors was the regimental commander in Korea and division commander in Vietnam. There you go. All right, Alpha. I guess I'm going to have to ask you what your mentors in the military, is that what you're talking about? I always think of Korea as a forgotten war, particularly cold and brutal. Eisenhower threatened nukes. It wasn't Eisenhower, it was MacArthur. Good to see the chief is still on Pop Culture Minefield. I saw him on Cage Ray. Well, thanks for tuning in on Cage Ray. Okay, we're at the halfway point. Martine, are you queued up for our seventh inning stretch here?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go with the stretch here. We'll see you in a couple of minutes, folks.
There's only one location on the internet where you can get it all. Movie, TV, and comic industry. News and rumor analysis. Official scoops from Geekosity magazine. Reviews and interviews. So, when you need it to be Sunday, there's only one place to go, mate. Pop Culture Minefield. Where they're always talking nerdy nerd stuff. Right, jog on then. There's only one location on the internet where you can get it all. Movie, TV, and comic industry. News and rumor analysis. Official scoops from Geekosity magazine. Reviews and interviews. So, when you need it to be Sunday, there's only one place to go, mate. Pop Culture Minefield. Where they're always talking nerdy nerd stuff. Right, jog on then.
So welcome back to Pop Culture Minefield's Morning Coffee with the Chief. Yeah, just to clarify, so it was Captain Jack was the guy I met who talked about fighting in the Chosin. And I met him when I was doing the preparation for the Ronald Reagan Memorial. I wrote the security plan and he wrote the logistics plan. And I think they brought him in because, just because of his background, that he was a decorated war hero kind of guy, but he also had... he worked for one of the transit agencies, not Metro, one of the other ones. And so he did the logistics, because all that stuff is, if you got buses that are on diesel or if they're on natural gas and you got certain grades and distances, they have to figure all that out. And he was a logistics guy, which is actually one of the most important things, I think, in the military, is getting the logistics right. And So that's why I heard a little bit of his story. He wasn't as open as Goldie was in the 24th, but he did talk a little bit about his fighting in Korea. So that kind of sets who the character is, though. And so this guy ain't going to back off, right? Roy's not going to back off. And it's interesting how they do that with movies. They'll plant a seed, and they assume most people will understand what that means. And the three of us would understand that, but the kids today wouldn't really understand that because we don't talk about that history anymore. It's the forgotten war for a reason. Heck, we don't even talk about World War II anymore and what those guys suffered in World War II. Except, we have series like Band of Brothers that come out that gets very popular.
Excellent.
Yeah, and it was an excellent series because for me, I like those because it reminds us of what the Greatest Generation did. Right, those guys fought, and
those were some tough dudes, man.
Yeah,
Or Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
another one. I mean, it just shows you, even though it's not as long as it actually was, a day was, it just shows you what those poor guys getting off. I mean, could you imagine as soon as even some of the ramps didn't even let you off the boat before the machine gun rounds were coming through the front, taking guys out. I mean, it's just horrific.
You don't want to be the first guy out.
No,
you think you do, but it's
you want bullet stoppers in front of you.
Yes, it's
like my wife wants to go to Normandy. She's
right.
And I said, I don't know how I would be able to. I don't know if I can take that.
Yeah,
just being from the military and then being a cop and then going to see all these young boys, young men just for fodder.
And they'll always be that age.
Yeah.
They'll always be that age. Yeah, and but it does, like, it lays out who he is. Let's roll with the scene Cynthia, because we got to talk about Kelly Preston and what happens with her. And now they ramp it up, so he's not going to be. He and his wife basically are not going to be extorted over a simple sex scandal, right? He's not intimidated. He's not intimidated by these guys. And so they ramp it up, and they actually kill Cynthia, right? And they make a film of it, which means there's a film somewhere, right? Because you got to keep the film to be able to do the blackmail, right? And right. And it's his weapon, right? And he realizes it's his weapon. And there's a lot of things about this that there's so many things you can investigate on this, Scott, that theoretically, if you did report it to the cops, it could be.
Well, first of all, if it was me,
yeah,
and I came home and I said, if I was in this situation, and my wife said, yeah, I came home, the door was open, there was this guy sitting in there, and blah 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 blah, and then now I know that it was him that was there,
right?
I would have left here and called the cops. I would have reported a burglary.
Yeah.
And if the cops said when, I would have said, 2 days or yesterday. We came home, door was open.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, you're fudging the time and the date, but it really did happen.
Right.
You say, hey, I'm missing some clothing. I'm missing a gun that was in my dresser, blah, blah, blah. Lay it all out. Now it's all on them.
Right. Right. Well, they are gonna link. Well, it's your girlfriend. You had a relationship with her, and it's your gun, but it was stolen in a burglary. And she, the thing about it is she's hanging out with a lot of shady characters, right? You got suspects galore with her, and that she's hanging out with, and so it's a shady crowd. And
yeah, I don't get the connection sometimes on this kind of like you're saying, she's hanging out with all these shady dudes, and what I always say, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think the end game is going to be? You're going to either overdose, you're going to be just used up, and you're going to be living this shitty life the rest of your. I mean, out here they have like a police blotter thing, right? Where
right.
You go to all the crime that's being reported, and then they show the picture of the suspect, and then they show the picture of the girlfriend or the accomplice, and you're like, what the hell did she even see in this guy?
I know.
I mean, she's attractive, and he looks like a scumbag. Well,
Right.
what?
Well, plus these are not people of they're going to turn, they're going to flip on each other. They're going to be
Right.
talking about it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we got a big score coming. They're going to, particularly the weakest guy. He's going to be talking about it, right? It's going to be out there, and I don't know. I think reporting it and letting the cops do their thing. Yeah, you'll be a suspect for a while, but as they turn over rocks, like you said, you've investigated homicides. As you turn over rocks, the clarity comes, right?
Yep.
So, of course, this is DNA was. No, this is right around the time DNA was starting to go in, because I think I did a movie, The Blooding, or we did talk about the movie, The Blooding. I don't know if I did that movie, Martine. I did. There's a book by Joseph Wambaugh where he talked about the first use of DNA was in England. Logistics, Confederate General was credited with the axiom, the victory goes to those who they're firstest with the mostest. That's logistics, right? Logistics wins wars, right, Scott? It's more with logistics than
all the interstates.
Yeah.
The interstate system was developed by a general who was Eisenhower knew real well and was a logistics guy. He's the one that designed all the interstates,
which opened up the country. Trade, reduced costs for moving trade. You had multiple systems beyond just the railroads to move product. You can use, and then people could move around. So it opened up the interior of the country right after World War II, right? So, yeah. So these are our bad guys. Are showing her getting killed, Cynthia getting killed, and now they're going to ramp it up. They say, "We got your gun, we got your jacket." And the interesting thing is they used some mechanical way to pull the trigger, right? Which I don't understand why that was necessary, right? On the film, why was that? I guess just to make it interesting, I guess. And of course they have all these cameras. So I don't know, Martine, what do you think? I don't see this, and I think these guys, if the real crooks would just say they'd move on to their next target. This guy is not playing along. What do you think?
Well, as you said, the guy's a narcissist. So it's not that they cannot get another target, because they obviously can, but he won't accept that his plan doesn't work. He took it personal.
That's a good point, right?
Yeah, really good point.
So and this is our main bad guy taking it personal. He doesn't like getting one-upped or challenged. Kind of. Well, I don't want to say Roy's character is not a narcissist. He's just fighting back, right? Because
but the narcissist is the bad guy. I mean,
is the bad guy, and it's amazing these guys. It is always amazing to me, Scott, that you have one guy, because this is how the way I see it. When you have a group of guys committing crimes, you have one charismatic leader, and you have idiots that follow him, right?
Like a politics.
Yeah, it's you know what I mean? I'm thinking of the gay bashing that we investigated in West Hollywood, and then one guy was kind of the charismatic leader, and he led two other guys, and they came down and they were doing robberies and bashed this guy, and it was all over the news, and they put it on America's Most Wanted. So I was running our DV at the time, and it's like, oh my God, why did you go America? We had the clues to solve it. We just need a little bit of time, but now we're on America's Most Wanted twice, and you get all this useless crap in that just takes your time, and we ended up catching the guy. But it was an interesting thing. One guy was kind of a gangster type of jock, was a high school athlete, a superstar, but now he's a thug, right? And he convinced these other two guys to go along with him and to do this stuff. And you could see he was the charismatic leader and two followers, right? And you see that lots of times you also have a charismatic leader and then maybe a woman and some other people that are following. That's not unusual, right? When you get these group kind of crimes. Did you ever experience that, or do you have an example that you're?
Oh, there's several times we investigated drive-bys where, you got the shot caller or the OG guys, shot caller. He's not the one doing the shooting. He's in the car, or he's he's monitoring the situation, if you want to
Right.
call it that. And there'll be the girlfriend, and it's not always just a carload of guys. There's girls. I mean, every gang has girls or hang out with them. I'm not going to use the term they use for them, but
Yeah. Well, like in this one, you got one charismatic leader, and Link and this other guy are following him. And I don't personally, I don't get that. It's like, but I'm not necessarily a follower, right? So, but that's what you see with these criminal groups, is that is the kind of thing that happens, right?
Well, he in the movie, he says that he went to Northwestern and has a business degree and all this, accounting degree or whatever. And so the other two, like Link, black dude was in jail. He's a con. He
Right.
got put in jail for robbery and all that kind of crap. And then you got the gay guy that runs the porn place.
Yeah, I think that's
the
the
Peep
only
Show.
one. He's the only one that hasn't been to prison, because
Yeah.
the other two had.
Yeah,
Right.
that you have. So they're following him because he's charismatic. He's the smart one. He's putting the whole thing together, the plan together. So they're all, I was hoping that the way Link figured it out is, wait a minute, he didn't tell us about any money, and you're telling us that you're going to give him 52 grand, which to me was cracked me up. But you're going through all this,
Yeah.
and you're only doing it for, I guess in '86, $52,000 was a lot of money. But
Yeah. Well, at first they wanted 105 because he betrayed him, 105,000 a year every year. And
Right.
the other part that was a little unbelievable was, okay, you can come look at my books and you see how much money I actually have and don't have, right?
Right.
And so he didn't have the liquidity that they thought. And so then he says, okay, which is, this lends to the name of the title, 52 Pickup, right? So that kind of gives you the name of the title. And now 52 Pickup is a
Card game.
Yeah, it's a kind of a card game, and you want to play 52 Pickup, and you just throw the cards out. Yeah, pick up the cards, right? And
Exactly.
did you ever do that? Yeah.
Oh, we used to do that all the time. But you could only get away with it once on a person.
Yeah, you're right. You know what I'm talking about, Martine? I don't know if
Nope.
So there's 52 cards in the deck, and so the joke is, you want to play 52 card pickup? Yeah, and then you just kind of throw the cards on the ground and say, okay, pick up the cards. So it's 52 card pickup. So it's siblings do that to each other.
Yeah.
It's just a dumb joke. 52 card pickup.
If you did it with your friends playing poker or whatever in high school, and the guy fell for it twice, you know he was an idiot.
And that's the guy you want to play poker with, then, right?
Exactly. It's like, oh my god, you didn't get it the first time.
So it, and that it kind of, you draws you to the name 52 card pick, and then you 52 pickup. So it's 52 card pickup, but it's 52 pickup here. But that lends to the title here. And but yeah, he comes to his place of work and he checks his books and says, okay, you only got 52,000. Okay, we'll agree to 52,000, right? Well, but then he doesn't tell his crime partners that. So
right. But again, I mean, all these movies, there's so many, like, this genre has been done to death in Hollywood, but
yeah,
it's like, okay, he's going to give you a copy of the huge video cassette. In a few years, you probably wouldn't be able to play on anything.
Yeah, there won't be any VHS player. So we got to rest in peace. Go ahead.
So what makes you think he's not going to come back the next year and go, I still got a copy?
Yeah.
I mean, I never understood this in these blackmail shows. Okay, I'll pay you the money. They're going to come after you again. You're not going to get everything.
Right.
That's why
Right.
that's why Roy Scheider character decided to off them all.
Yeah,
Right.
There you go. Or have them off each other.
Have them, which is what ultimately happens, happen off each other. Now, Vanity was in this movie. She plays the black gal in this movie, and I had to look up. She's deceased now. She died pretty young, at 57. Now, to me, that's young, because it's younger than I am right now. But and she's beautiful in this movie, and she was a singer, but she was in a lot of different movies, and she played a pretty good part in this movie, and I'm not saying that just because she disrobed. but a little more than a cameo, right? And Terror Train she was on, and the movie Terror Train, and
Alpha.
what was that?
My little sisters were gullible enough to play more than once.
Well, you know what we're talking about then, 52 card pickup, right? The people or leaders are using the same story, helps people believe in the characters. Okay, yeah. So 52 card pickup. All right. Hey, so so Cynthia is now offed and they kill her. Now this is I think this is where this plot kind of goes off the rails. Yeah, it puts a little more pressure on our main character. But yeah, let's roll with the scene in the Paris house because I got to talk a little bit about. And I wrote this as the Paris house, and that is not the name of this place. But when I started working in West Hollywood, there was a place where you could go and take pictures. You could rent the camera to take pictures of gals who strip. So this is where Vanity comes in. Snyder met Cynthia. She was with a black gal, and the black gal was Vanity. And so he goes to this place, and he's, obviously gets the Polaroid camera, which we don't see that much anymore. And he's going to take a picture of this gal who's taking off her clothes. But now it's the same kind of rules. Can't touch, and
You can get
you get all the pictures you want, but you can't touch and all that other stuff. Maybe make
you can't get any closer than 6 feet.
Right, and you can make some side deals there, I guess. And this is where I saw it and reminded me of the movie Ransom. So he's throwing money around to get answers, right? And this is where the Mel Gibson movie Ransom, and where he's using his money to undermine these folks. And this is where it first starts. I never seen this movie, but this camera part is, if given to Hogan's Heroes, okay. So Bob Crane was beat to death with a camera. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. And when he was murdered, and George C. Scott in the movie Hardcore. Okay, I think I saw that movie. But are you talking about when Hogan's Hero Bob Crane was murdered? Yeah, murder videos. Yeah, he was murdered with a camera. But in this one, so it reminded me of the Paris house. That's what I named the scene, the Paris house. And so you just paid money. You went in with your camera, and you, Vanity played the intended love interest for Prince in Purple Rain. Yeah, that's exactly right. So these places do exist. That and this. So this is in L.A. It likely would have been the Paris house that they went to in West Hollywood, because obviously I don't frequent these places, but this did exist in LA. This is the weak link of these three people too, right? And I like after this conversation, he says, "Well, I got your name from this guy," and that begins the undermining of the crew. So I don't know, Scott, you ever see any places where you could get a camera and take pictures of naked gals? I've only seen that one place, and I actually think it might still be there, but I don't know for sure because I haven't worked with Hollywood. It was there when I went back 6 years later as a lieutenant. It was still operating, and Vice would check it out, but I don't. The guys, they would stick to their thing. You can take pictures of naked ladies with the camera, and that didn't really cross certain lines in terms of Vice, but it was still existed. And I'm sure there were a lot of side deals made that the business didn't take credit for between the client and the camera taker. But I don't know, did you ever see anything like this anywhere else?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Driving around West Hollywood, working overtime there and stuff like that when I was a sergeant. And but in my little small town or city, as they like to call themselves, up in Washington State, outside the Navy base, there's a main street that goes into the Navy base. There is Elmo's bookstore, which was also adult, toys and magazines, and I think they had a peep show in the back. And then just down, like across the street, 2 doors down, there was a theater, and I think it was, you could go in and take pictures and stuff. I never went in them because if I did, everybody in town would have been like, "Did you see Scott? You went into the." So it's like, I'll pass. Everybody knows everybody, right? So it's like my parents would have known 5 minutes later, right? But yeah, it was right outside the Navy base. So, I never
Oh, that
knew.
is pretty funny. So
Yeah.
so they got to service all the soldiers and make a little money off them.
Yeah.
All those Navy guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you're
the
right.
funny thing is I can't. My wife would know, but it was actually Elmo's was actually owned by somebody we knew. Their family. It was like their grandparents owned it or something.
See, the first time I went to New York, there was still a seedy adult district, and in Times Square. It used to be really bad, and then Giuliani cleaned it up. Yeah, that's right. That if I had to equate an area that it's a much bigger area, obviously Times Square, a place to what West Hollywood was like when I first started working in the '80s, I would say Times Square. See a lot of seedy motels, definitely a lot of prostitution going on, street prostitution, boys and girls. All over the place, and then the Paris House and bathhouses. We had a massage parlor. And the interesting thing, the massage parlor, it was busted, and it was owned by the dean of the business school for Cal State Northridge.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I thought I read that somewhere.
remember that? Yeah, I was like, oh my god, and so sex sells, sex makes money, and supposedly legitimate people own those places. So these kinds of places exist, but there are seedy people that get involved in this stuff. They're just seedy, like you see in this movie. So this is pretty well. Let's talk about our villain here, and this is Rainey. So this is the next clip here, and this is so Roy goes to talk to Vanity, and Vanity doesn't quite. She kind of plays a game where he's able to figure out the name, right? But she doesn't quite tell him it. She just sounds like whatever, and because she's afraid of Link. Actually, I guess I should use Link's real
Yeah,
character. She's really
rightfully
afraid
so.
of Link. Robert Lee, Bobby Shy.
I still don't get why she helped him at all.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think, the thing about it, and they don't really show it in the flick, is when we're talking about the seedy side of life, the prostitution stuff, there's a lot of addiction going on, right? And a lot of these folks are they're either addicted to heroin, methamphetamine was a big one in West Hollywood, but it was you had mostly coke and heroin on the Sunset Strip, and the girls were hooked on more heroin kind of stuff and coke, and then the guys were hooked on meth, right? And so once you got them hooked, the drive, to get that next hit, it keeps driving their behavior, right? So, in fact, a lot of our burglars were also turning tricks in West Hollywood, the male guys, just to get that next hit. And the amazing thing is meth was not that expensive, so they could do one date is what they would call them and get enough money for a hit. But that's what was going on, and the gals were these are crazy stories. There was meth on the Sunset Strip as well, and that's, you don't really see that here in this movie, right? You're not seeing that, but that is a big driver why once they get addicted and they stay in the life, right, Scott?
Oh yeah, it's a sad, Well, for me, my area is being, I don't know, they call them, some people would say ghetto or whatever, but they're not what people think ghettos like in New York or Chicago or, it's like a suburban neighborhood, but it's, very run down. But when I was working, crack was the big deal.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, we'd go in and there'd be pots on the stove, and it was so easy to make. There'd be pots on the stove with, 1.5 2 inches of crack cocaine solidified in the bottom. They're, all they do is knock it out of the pan and then hit it and break it up into chunks, and that's why it's chunky, is because they break it up like a hammer. But yeah, so we didn't see a lot of coke. We didn't see a lot of meth. I mean, not in those almost all of it down there was crack cocaine at the, mid to, I left gangs from 95 to 2004.
Yeah.
So during that time, it was mostly just crack. you get a little bit of meth over on it was funny if you saw the one area of Carson, was the west side, that strip of area. If you saw a white guy on a bike after like midnight, you knew you were going to arrest him for meth.
Yeah, he was out looking to do an auto burger, right? To get enough money.
They always had meth.
Yeah.
I had a guy. It's like 3 a.m. He's riding a bike around, so I stop him, and he's got meth in his pocket. So I go to take him to jail, and he's like, "These aren't," and you hear it every time. "These aren't my pants."
Yes.
So you just put anybody's pair of pants with meth in. Okay.
Yeah,
I said, "So whose are they?" And he said, "Well, it's my sister's." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I get him in the car. And he goes, "Where are we going?" I go, "We're going to your house." "Why are we going to your house?" "Because I'm going to arrest your sister since it's on your pants." So it's 3:30 in the morning. I knock on the door. Mom comes out. What's going on? The cops are on my doorstep. So I said, "Hey, is that your son?" She's like, "Yes." So then the daughter comes up, and she's, a meth guy. He's skinny as a rail, and this very large woman sister comes to the door. And she said, "What's going on?" I said, "Well, I'm probably going to arrest you because I arrested him for meth, but he says the pants are yours." And she's like, "I'm going to kill you." And he's like, "It's mine. It's mine."
I can't believe that because that happened to me too. Well, these are not my pants.
These aren't my pants.
So the weirdest thing, Martine, is so you arrest somebody, they got dope in their pockets, right? So what you do is you stop them for no light on their bike, right? There we go. Yeah. Am I following you? And then you're talking to them, and you can see that they're high, right? So you look, then you look for the source of intoxication, right? So I mean, Scott's right along with me there. Yeah, so you can do a search. So you can do the search, and so you find the dope in the pockets, and their excuse is, "These aren't my pants." I swear to God, Scott, that happened to me too, Scott. So these aren't my pants.
It happened all the time, but not with the crack users.
Meth.
White dude on a bike.
Meth. These
are my
pants.
Every time. These are my pants. Really. So I finally got tired of it and said, "Okay, I'm going to play this out. I'm going to go wake up Mom and his sister to make sure that."
I actually was at a suppression hearing, and they were arguing over, does he, the guy says, "Well, he had to, if these aren't your pants," because that was the argument. Well, these weren't his pants, and it says, "Well, then do you have standing to object to the search? If they're not your pants, then you don't have standing object to the search, right?" So it's a kind of a legal thing, right?
Yeah.
And so they argued over the standing, and do you have standing to object to the search for the pants you're wearing if they're not your pants, right? I mean, it was okay. Remember, it was source of intoxication, and the DA took it back to, hey, remember, he's under the influence, so he can search for the source of intoxications in the pants. So he can object to the search all he wants. He's wearing them, but he's it's legal, right? And so he got held to the answer. And I think he pled out.
You could arrest him for under the influence.
Yeah.
And then do a custodial search.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's like there's 2 ways to skin. There's more weight. I don't want. We ripped right past the scene, but on the scene, this is finally where Roy gets to confront our bad guy, Alan Rainey, and he says, I think he said there's a face, you got a face I'd like to slap or something like that. So now we got the confrontation, and you're right, Martine, this is now a battle of wills between Roy's character Harry and Alan, the bad guy, John's character, and now it's a battle of wills, right? But Roy says, "You can come to my plant tonight and you can take a look at my books," and which is kind of weird, we don't have that many CPAs that are in the crime life, right? So he's going to go through all this stuff, and he, I can see you only have 52,000. So I mean, for me, anyways, again, you got to take some leap of faith here on the cinema here, but you can see at least the 2 characters. This is a character head-to-head thing now at this point. It's kind of like John McClane, and our bad guy Gunther, right? I think that was his name, right? So it became a head-to-head thing, right? That became the primary conflict.
Hans, yeah, Hans. Booby, right? Well, that was the other guy. Remember that guy? He got killed. He's trying to negotiate. But right, Martine. So this is now the movie is the direct confrontation between the two, direct negotiation.
But I don't know.
And,
at this point,
and they don't like each other, right?
At this point, if I were the bad guy and I'm messing with a Korean veteran war hero that by some way or another he found me, I would have just walked away.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have walked away as soon as we said, I don't have $105,000 and I'm not paying because I don't have $105,000.
Yeah, it's not. It's no longer. It's no longer the easy scam that they first said. Right now, it's become way more complicated to try and leverage this guy, and now it involves killing people. Because they killed the gal, and breaking into homes, and all. Suddenly, it becomes. But it becomes a test of wills, I think, between our bad guy and our hero, who's kind of not really a hero. I mean, he's cheating on his wife, and so. But you're right, Martine. Now he's that, and this is what I liked about the movie. The guy doesn't sit back. He's taking it to them. He's searching them, and he also drops the. This is where he begins to do the undermining. Yeah, Hans Gruber means Christmas to me. Yeah, me too. I watch it every Christmas. I'm looking forward to watching it this Christmas.
How the memes go is, I think it's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls from Nakatomi.
That's right. It's kind of like putting your Christmas lights up. Hey,
In fact, you should light the lights. Watching the movie, when the moment he falls, that's when you light the.
All right, Martine. So I think Pop Culture Minefield needs to make an ornament for a Christmas tree of Hans Gruber falling down, right, and sell it in their thing, and it's a Christmas ornament, Hans Gruber.
Oh no, Disney would sue the hell out of us.
Oh
yeah. Good old Disney. We're gonna stomp the.
We can alter the name. We can call him Gans Gruber.
Gans Gruber.
Yeah. Gans Gruber.
All right. So our bad guy and our hero are now locked into the struggle. But this is where he starts the undermining, right? He suggests that he got the name from I forget the character's name on this guy. Who's the wimpy guy? Let's see here. It's not. Is it Lonnie Chapman? No, that's not him. Who's the wimpy guy that runs it's a Robert. He plays Leo Frank, so it's Leo, right? So Leo is the guy that he drops his name as. This guy was also he's a good character actor too. He's in a lot of good stuff. He's in Frankenheimer stuff. He's Northwestern. He went to Northwestern Theater. Let me see some of his movies. Face of Fire. He was in Magnum Force, uncredited as a reporter. Let's see. Turk 182. I've seen that movie. That's a good movie. I don't remember him in it, but they drop his name. I got your name from Leo, right? And he knows exactly what he's doing. He's I got your name from Leo, and of course now Rainey thinks Leo told him he didn't keep the secret, and that's the undermining, right? And of course then he goes to the theater. I mean, he goes to the plant, and he gets the offer of $52 million or $52,000, and today it's $52 million. Then it's $52,000.
Now, a question.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I haven't read the book, but what do you think happened to Vanity's character? Did he let her live?
Oh, he did. He let her live.
Mm.
The
guy's a psycho, and he's super high when he's telling her, "I'm gonna let you live," and he says, "Nah, I don't trust you."
Well, yeah, he kills. Well, he tries to smother her, right? And then she but then she gets killed in the end by our bad guy.
Right.
She ends up getting
boomering
killed.
here.
Right, she's in on the plot. She knows what's going on. In fact, they all were, and but she gets deeper into this thing. But Link, she is actually the one who gave the tip to Roy, but he believes her. Well, she's beautiful, so she manipulates him. Yeah, it's me. Why would I'd never do that to you? I thought that was Yeah, that scene
Well,
was.
well, she didn't lie, and
She didn't
it was
lie.
both,
No.
because even when she's playing charades with Roy Scheider, she said,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna play with you, so I don't gonna say anything to you. You ask
Yeah.
me questions, and you connect the dots."
Yeah.
And when I say what he says to Link is, "Hey, I didn't tell him nothing." So yeah.
Yeah,
I
she didn't say. She did not say give up the name. He had to
I
figure it out himself.
I think if Roy was interested, I think she wanted to be the next sugar baby, right? And but Roy wasn't.
Probably.
He just wanted information, and she was surprised when, yeah, I didn't pay Cynthia anything, Really? Yeah, no. So, um, which also tells you that there was some genuine affection for each other, I guess. Of course, you see a guy drive up in a car like that, he's got a lot of money. Cynthia's hanging out with scumbags. But as we established earlier in our conversation, they were probably all using coke or something like that, which keeps them in the life. But the confrontation's happening, and Roy is beginning to drop the seeds to undermine the criminal conspiracy. And of course, our lead guy now doesn't trust anybody, and it's you see the confrontation between him and Link. But Link ultimately he knows he's got to take Link out. Link is his biggest threat, and he's planned that. Link has figured out that there was an offer and they didn't lie to him. It's interesting that Link threatened to shoot his package because you wouldn't remember. He wouldn't tell him everything. There's so much sexual stuff in this thing, right? I think there's definitely an R-rated movie, and I think sometimes they give them R rating just because people think it's a better movie, right? But this was really R-rated because there's just a lot of sex stuff in it. But let's roll with they got Link. So they're gonna do this deal now. It's 52,000, and they're getting undermined. And Leo, they figured Leo's the one who told, and they take Leo. Link takes Leo out, right? He goes and Leo and his boyfriend, because didn't he shot the second guy too, right? I think.
Yep, he shot them both.
He shot them both, and the interesting thing about Link, but here Link, he goes to the house, and this part didn't make sense to me. So Link independently goes to the house and breaks in, and
he's not independent. Alan, the main bad guy, he tells him to kill the guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
He told Link that they were going to have to get rid of Alan.
Right. Okay. Right. Or get rid of Leo, then Alan. You mean Harry? You mean Roy Schneider's character, right?
Yeah, Roy Scheider. Yeah.
He was going to go there to take him out.
But they managed to capture him.
I don't get the logic of the bad guy, because he's still thinking that he's gonna get the 52.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't get that.
My plan would have been let's get the 52 and then off him.
Right. This
right.
is why
I didn't get that. Why he's going there to kill him before they even have the money.
Yeah, this part didn't make sense to me at all, right? And but it does give a chance for Roy's character to undermine the main bad guy, Alan, by telling Link here, who's probably, as you watch the movie, considered the most dangerous of the crew, right?
Right.
The truth, and then he realizes that he's been lied to by his crime partner. So yeah, I didn't understand all this part. I must have missed it that they wanted to go kill him, because you're right, none of this makes sense. Because why would they kill him? Because he didn't have the 52. And
well, this is when he tells him I was 50 grand, and he's like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, I agreed to pay him 52,000 to be exact."
Yeah. And the ending part of this thing, I don't understand either. He gives him, what did he give him, whiskey? I think, I forget what he gave him, whiskey or brandy. Whiskey. And do you always give guys that break in your house whiskey? Only when I want to make a deal with them, I guess.
Yeah.
So this is because they could have easily, hey, this guy broke in and called the police, and just all the evidence was there, right? The guy wouldn't have said anything, but yeah, they had all these opportunities to go to the police, and they never did. But when he's leaving, this part, okay, this is dumb, right? He empties the gun and gives the gun back to him. I'm sorry, that just I wouldn't have done that. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. You're going to give a killer a gun and his gun back? What the hell?
Well, he took out the magazine and emptied the chamber. So
yeah,
but still, that's a 45, 1911. Those are nice guns.
Yeah, you're right. You don't give that up. But yeah, it's like, nah, I don't think so. I'm not doing that. What's that like? I'm building trust with you. I'm building trust with a criminal.
Yeah.
I'm not giving it, because I might be facing this guy down in the future. I want him to have to go out and get a new gun.
There's no honor among thieves, so why would you give him?
Yeah,
think you're going to catch a break later? I mean,
yeah. So that makes sense to me. So I think there's some parts of this movie that just it gets into a little bit of the unbelievable, but it is the neo-noir stuff, right? It's but I don't know, Martin. What'd you think of that scene? Yeah, or this scene as it goes on? I didn't. It just it was unbelievable to me. What'd you think?
I let it pass.
You let it pass. That's movie making, right?
Yeah.
It says there's too many variables. Oh, well, you're giving the gun to a criminal. What makes you think that that's his only gun? Or that he cannot get another one down the road?
Yeah, or has another magazine in the car. I mean, but they're going to ramp this up, right? They're not letting our guy go, and
well, isn't that what movies are? It's supposed to take you away and you suspend your disbelief.
Well,
escape for a few hours.
So we bring a little realism to our analyzing of the movies. This doesn't make sense. What is he doing, right?
Yeah.
But that's us. 38 years in law enforcement for me. How many years did you do, Scott?
31.
31. Okay. All right, but now these guys, they ain't done yet. They got to win because our antagonist, Alan Rainey, or the great character actor John Glover, he doesn't want to give up. And you're right, Martine. You said it. This is more of a, he's a narcissist, and this is about, I'm going to win. I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to force this guy to heel, and that is Harry Mitchell, or Roy, his character. And he does, again, what I think is he steps it up yet again to do something really stupid. And he kidnaps Ann-Margret. He kidnaps the wife to get leverage on Roy to get the $52,000. This, to me, I keep hearing $52,000. I'm thinking, this is not worth the money to me, but I'm thinking, I guess, in $2,025, not thinking in 1986. And of course, no one ever carries a spare magazine. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think he might have one in the car, right? You never know. But yeah, I wouldn't give it. But so then they go. Let's roll with the kidnapping scene. And so he does kidnap her, and he ultimately wants to make her compliant. Here he is. He's looking down at her, and she's swimming in the pool. And see, I think he just plays a really good bad guy. He's almost charming, right? And then this nickname that he has for her, Slim. And there's Ann-Margret. Wow, over 30 years of service and both. Yeah, thank you. Yes,
thanks.
I did 38 years, and I started in '83. So I finished in 2021. It was a long career. Some ups and downs, but it was a long career. And on the whole, I had a lot of fun along the way. I know Scott did. Scott got to play cop his whole career. I had to be administrator after about half my career. So you had fun along the way, right, Scott?
I had a great time. I got to work I worked everything you could as a cop.
Yeah.
I worked jails. I worked admin. I worked detective or gangs. And I worked patrol. I was a TO for second.
Yeah.
Before I got rolled up to somewhere else. So yeah, I had a great time. I met a lot of great people. And when people say, do you miss a job? I always say, I don't miss the BS. I don't miss dealing with everybody else's problems, but I do miss the people I worked with. We had a lot of fun.
There were, I think, when I became more of an administrator, what I missed is building things that worked. Do you know what I mean? So building a team that worked, building systems that worked, because that's ultimately that's the kind of person I was. Let's build it, let's make it work, and let's make it work better than everybody else. Anne is one of the all-time classic beauties. I would have to agree there. And she's kidnapped here, and of course, I don't know why she didn't just jump in the water when she went the sailboat go around. But did you see the scene? So. Yeah, right.
All you had to do was jump down and dive into the water. The boat would have saved you instead of standing there screaming. I mean, it's like, come on, save yourself, save yourself.
That's the escapist thing. You know what? What do you? Why don't you just do this? This is how But so she does her screaming fit. But what does he do? And this is where I say, I think a lot of these gals who are in this plot were not using drugs. As he gets some heroin, he shoots her up the heroin to make her a little more controllable, and he ultimately he acknowledges later, because they check out who he is. This is the lawyer. Now this lawyer is a pretty good character actor too.
Yeah.
His name is Jim O'Boyle. No, that's not him. That's Lonnie Chapman, right? Yeah, it is. It's Lonnie Chapman. He did a lot of westerns and that kind of stuff, and I recognize he was in The Rifleman, right? And he was Lloyd Bridges' show, and Dundee and Culhane and Mission Impossible. So he was a pretty good character actor, busy character actor. And he does he's got convictions for rape. And so now he's got his wife. And this is like, okay, he's kidnapped your wife and the guy's a rapist. Why aren't you calling the police, right? Oh no, I can't call the police, and now this is a point where, okay, it's because he wants to be the guy who takes him out, right? And he wants to get him. That's the only thing I can think of, Scott. Why aren't you calling the police? They kidnapped your wife now, and the guy's a convicted rapist. There's a very good chance she's not going to survive this, and just come clean with everything, right?
Yeah, this whole movie, like I said from at the beginning,
someone was detected at your garage.
There's so many different ways you could have called the cops and had this whole thing done with.
Right.
But again, he might be a little narcissistic too, because now it's like you were saying, it's a battle of wills.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, if I do go to the police, then all this stuff's going to come out. And I'm going to have to go through this big, long investigation when they find out that so they eventually find out that I didn't kill my girlfriend. Because,
right.
You watch any of these TV shows, these true crime dramas now that are on everything, podcasts, TV shows. Anytime a girlfriend or wife or spouse or whoever dies, the significant other is suspect one.
Right.
So he's going to go through a long investigation until a detective finally puts all the pieces together and realizes that it was a setup.
Right.
But he doesn't go to the cops because he doesn't, I don't know, I guess he doesn't want to go through all that. So he takes matters into his own hands, which...
Guys, take a peek to the private chat, please.
Oh.
How do you do that?
One of your security systems detected someone in your garage.
Yeah, it's my wife.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. So okay. So what do you got? He's putting down what one of the actors was. Gambit is I think that is Reindeer Games is Chapman. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he's a long time character actor. But we did see the beginning of the scene here, though. Our part of the scene was this is when they take out Leo, and he gets killed. Chapman's first film role was Ernie the Plumber in 1955. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Movie Young at Heart. During his lengthy career, his appearances included roles in East of Eden. Okay, yeah, but you recognize him right away because he's a longtime character actor. But Leo gets killed in this last scene, right? Link goes over there and they take him out, and they take his boyfriend out. And ultimately, I don't show the scene here, but after they've kidnapped Roy's wife, Alan sets up Link, and he ultimately kills Link, and then he kills Vanity, right, in this warehouse. And then he sets up his 52 pickup, right, 52,000 pickup with Roy. And this brings up what I think is the best scene in the movie, and this is the exchange when he gives him his money. And let's roll with that scene. And I was trying to remember, was there another scene when they did this? I think somebody else did this kind of scene in the movie. And this case, he offers to throw in his Jaguar. Is it a V6 or a V12? It's a V6, right? So our bad guy knows his cars. And he says, yeah, I'd love to have that sweet car. Now, he put the hardtop on. Now, you saw in the movie that there's hard tops and soft tops, and that he had taken his hardtop off in the garage, but he put the hardtop on. And that becomes important later. So he does the exchange with our bad guy here. And it's on one of the NCIC shows, agent rules with a spouse and always the primary suspect until cleared. Yeah, it's always the spouse until cleared. And so he does the exchange, and he leaves the money in the car, gives him the car, or gives the money in a bag, and then lets him have the car. And our bad guy gets in. And this is an industrialist, right? And he has access to explosives. And he leaves a little message. This also, this was in The Mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie The Mechanic. That's where it happened. Remember? I was wondering, where else did this happen? I know there was another movie, and both the original with Charles Bronson and the remake, and I'm trying to think of who was in the remake at this point. It was
Jason
Strahan.
Statham and
who was?
I think it was Ben Foster. What's the other one?
Yeah. So they do the same thing. But this is what I remembered about the movie. So our bad guy gets in his car, and he's got his money, and the doors lock. A little message comes on. You got about 10 seconds to live, and the patriotic music starts playing, and then the car blows up, right? So this is the part that I enjoyed the scene, because this guy thinks he was won, and Roy has set him up, right? Yeah, I'm going to take you out, and of course he takes his wife, who now has enjoyed heroin and has been raped by this guy. So I don't get this, If he'd have called early on, they wouldn't have gone through any of this stuff. So she should be pissed at her husband here, right? But the car blows up, and I don't know. What'd you think of the scene, Scott? I enjoyed this part of the scene because the bad guy gets it in the end in a very unique way. And until now, I actually couldn't remember what other movie this happened. And it was The Mechanic was the other movie I remember seeing this in. I'm sure there might be other movies where the car locks and blows up as well. But what'd you think of the scene? There, Scott.
Scott, you're muted.
There you go.
Yeah, I like the scene because I like it when the bad guy gets it in the end. But when it's classic. This is the last 10 seconds of your life.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
Yeah, and well, unfortunately, they got to blow up the car. But okay. We talk about how unrealistic this stuff is, Scott. Right? So, how much evidence you blow up the car? Like that's not going to get anybody's attention, right?
Yeah, there's never any cops.
The cops are going to go, oh, hey, we got the VIN number to your car. It blew up, and there's,
Yeah, exactly. Well, they just end the movie because there's a lot of questions that you have to keep going.
Yeah, there should have been a scene from the previous day that he reporting his car as stolen.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. Is there's so many. The first thing after it blew up was like, well, I mean, we went to school in New Mexico to watch how terrorists blow up cars.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of. The VINs always, for some reason, survive.
Well, plus it's like, okay, where do you access the explosive material? Of course, he's got a company that does explosions, So this is, clearly he wasn't worried about getting away with this. He was just worried about, he's going to kill this guy, right? So he's got some explaining to do once the authorities get involved, and they will get involved, and they will figure it out. And
well, he's got a plan. His wife, is going to be the DA.
well, her friend was going to be the DA. She was going to be the city council person, right? Yeah. So
his wife's boss.
Yeah, his wife's. Yeah. So, all right. I'm sorry. He's still going to prison for some of this, but maybe not for a long time, right? Maybe he'll
community
get
service.
He'll get community service. He'll get a Soros-funded DA. Maybe he'll just get a slap on the wrist. I don't know. What'd you think of the scene, Martine? I thought it was the best scene in the movie. When our classic bad guy gets it. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a little contrived, but it's satisfying. No, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
the thing is, now she still be under the effects of the
heroin.
drugs.
Yeah,
but she's taking it up also well. I mean, she shouldn't be so happy.
Yeah. So although it was a different movie, I had you seen the movie before, Martine?
No.
Yeah. So I do like picking movies that you'd never seen before, and because we're different generation, so a lot of stuff that I'm familiar with, you're not familiar with. I know Scott he already said he'd seen this before when it came out a long time ago, but I think I've only seen it once before. But I like Roy Scheider, and I like Ann-Margret, so I think they did a pretty good job in the show. But I have to say, our villain he was the best character, and he was the best actor in the movie, and he made it fun, right? So. All right, I think we're right at the end of the show here, guys, and I got to take off, so we can't stick around for a debrief. Scott, thank you again for joining me. Martine, thank you for stepping up, and the fun show and a lot of fun comments. All right, folks, we'll see you next week on Pop Culture Minefield's Morning Coffee with the Chief.
I'll see y'all later. I got to go.
See ya.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
Matt Damon.